welcome to Wisdom Soup. Woohoo! Great to see everybody together. Oh my gosh, do you know what? I'm on this really tiny screen and I want to see all your faces. So on go the glasses. Wendy's going to be applauding me. I have to tell you the funniest thing. Oh my gosh, you guys, I never want to wear my glasses because they just like they get in the way, you know? And I just need them for reading. And we went to dinner because Wendy and I are here at this. We're having like a work retreat, and we did the Phoenix one day event yesterday, which was so much fun. But we went to dinner and we ordered this vegan pasta dish, and I asked them to split it, and they brought us two bowls, and they said you can add mushrooms to it and all this kind of stuff, and we're enjoying this, and I'm eating up, and I think Wendy's not eating hers at all. And then if we get to the end, I realized that I thought what hers was pasta from where I sat because I didn't have glasses on. It's actually a bowl of mushrooms, and she didn't get any pasta, and I pigged the whole thing. She's like,
You
"Why
must
don't you wear your glasses?" Oh, so here I am. I can see you all, and you all look wonderful. Welcome. It's so good to see so many beautiful faces that I know. It's so good to see you guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. So we have some serious fun to happen today. I want to get this closer so I can start to see you guys in the chat. Let me open up my chat. And so thank you so much. These are my, I think these are Whole Foods glasses. So yeah, they must be organic. Um, so what was I going to tell you? So hello. Oh, it's so good to see everybody joining in. Gregory's in from Portland. All right. Wisdom Soup. This is going to be fun, you guys. And then Morning Rodney's in from Cabo. Fantastic. Mushrooms are so good for you. They are. I know we did actually add some mushrooms at the end, and they were good. They were really good. So yeah, so it's so good to have everybody together, you guys. So Wisdom Soup. So for those of you who are new, just to let you know what Wisdom Soup is all about. So Wisdom Soup is I started Wisdom Soup many years ago. I started it at like one of the early stages of my own journey when I realized that I needed new friends. I needed friends who were also on the same journey. I needed people I could talk with about the kind of stuff that I was going through. And so I literally booked a theater in downtown Bellevue, and I put a thing on Meetup, and I didn't know if anybody would show up. And like 25 people came, and I put myself as the first, like sacrificial lamb. And I was a speaker that day. And then going forward, I just had, what my idea was to share other people who are out there doing the work that maybe you haven't met yet. And what was amazing about that first event is that I did make friends, and some of those people are still some of my very close friends. And I've been running Wisdom Soup ever since. And I found that that was so fulfilling and important to my journey that even when I moved to California for a few years, I still flew back every month to host Wisdom Soup. So we still do this, and it's changed and become more dynamic. Thank you to, the experience is not to say so much thank you to COVID, but it has its positive expressions. The shutdown did, which is that everybody learned to use Zoom, and now we can enjoy having people join us from all over the world. But part of it is this idea of opening, and I called it Wisdom Soup because the idea is that we are opening ourselves up to learning about new things that maybe we haven't considered before. That when you make soup, you get to make soup however you want it. It's a big pot. You put in whatever's in your fridge, whatever you like. So we come to Wisdom Soup, we get exposed to new things, and then you take what resonates for you and you leave the rest. And it's about enhancing, always opening ourselves up to growth, opening ourselves up to new new ideas. Never getting fixed or set in where we are, because that's the one thing about our spiritual journey, right? It's always dynamic and growing. And so for today, we have a super fun and exciting group, a dynamic duo joining us, and they're going to be sharing about the Pleiadians. So this should be super interesting. And I will tell you, after we scheduled this, I got this incredible surprise in the mail. They sent me like a library of books, like not just one book, but like a collection of knowledge that they have gathered. And so these are some pretty smart people we got here. And with that, they've done a lot of deep thinking about the stuff they're going to share with us today. So anyways, I am thrilled to be able introduce them to you. So let me go ahead and spotlight and let me bring us together here so you guys can, and I'm doing this on my laptop, which always makes it harder. Give me just a moment here. And here we go. And there we go. And then let me find you guys and we'll do a joint spotlight for just a moment. And here, wait, there we go. And okay, perfect. All right, you guys. So we've got Pia and Colin. Welcome to Wisdom Soup. We are so grateful to have you with us and so excited. So I spent some time with the books that you sent, and it was really, and it was almost like there was so much that you guys have done. It was like, okay, where do I dig in? And the thing that grabbed me, and I will ask you all about it. The first thing I grabbed was, of course, the astrology and the idea of this different way of thinking about time. So I want to get to that, but first, if you guys please share with us. Like give us a quick, if you would, for the whole group, uh, how would you introduce yourselves? What would you say is the most important thing to you about the work that you've been doing in the world?
Well, we've been trying to support human evolution all of our lives. So we've been in touch with other realms all of our lives. So this transition into bringing forth wisdom from the stars with this Pleiadian group was a pleasant surprise because we didn't think we would be bringing forth channeled information, but we were certainly familiar with communicating with the other realms. We had professional careers before we began this public journey. I mean, we always had private conversations, but before we came public, I was a practicing psychologist.
And I was an anthropologist and an archeologist.
Oh my
So
gosh.
we came from pretty sturdy quasi-scientific backgrounds, but heavily professional. And we think maybe because we came from that kind of background, people who weren't interested or didn't know about communication with other realms might have had a little bit of a sense that maybe we were for real, that we weren't just making this up. And so it's been an interesting journey.
We were written up in one of the major psychology journals because one of the senior professors at a university wanted to test us. And Laarkmaa came through and he talked to them and he said, Laarkmaa, if you're for real, I lost something 6 months ago and I can't find it. Tell me where it is. And Laarkmaa said, okay, get up and go look in your closet in your green sweater. It's in your left pocket. And he left the room, came back and said, I found my keys. Thank you very much.
This was in a group meeting of academics around a dinner table, and it was a showstopper because I don't think Pia knew this professor really well, but I'm not sure he was really in sync with what we were doing. And
Yeah.
when he came downstairs and sat down, the smile on his face was Cheshire cat-like. I mean, it changed his understanding completely.
So
I
we've
love that.
taken the extraterrestrial, extra interdimensional connection all of our lives with the background to say, hey, this is real.
Yeah.
What a beautiful gift to him to have that. I mean, like that just changed his life. You know what I mean? Like the thing is, everybody wants to believe, but we just have a hard time getting out of our own way. So what a gift they gave him to let him have that confirmation. That's so cool.
Yep, absolutely. So just a little bit more of history about us. I'll just take a second. We had really unusual childhoods. We were connected to the David Kingdom, the Elemental Kingdom, what we call little people,
fairies, angels.
We actually had friends in our childhoods that most parents or grandparents say, oh, when they grow up, they will grow out of this. They won't say they have invisible friends. But for us, it never stopped. We never let go of that kind of connection.
Or those communications. They've always been important to us in a very distinct reality that is real.
Yeah, that is amazing. And so you never went through the process of shutting down your third eye or closing off. It stayed open your whole lives, both of you. So, and then how did you come together as a pair? So you both had which is unusual. Lots of people might have memories or glimpses or imaginary friends, but then we shut it down, and you guys, neither of you did. So how did you come together as a pair?
We actually feel like that Laarkmaa pushed us together.
Yeah.
We were living in different states, and I was on a retreat, and I stopped over to have lunch with a friend, and a friend invited me just stay overnight and told me to go to a particular gallery where Cullen was, which I didn't know, but he said, I think there's something for you in that gallery. Now, coincidentally, after the experience of when I went to the gallery and we actually met, my friend had no memory of ever saying that, which I find kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
This, this,
Wow.
this was a very, very interesting meeting. Because of my background in anthropology and archaeology, I had a friend who wanted to open a Native American antiquities gallery, but he didn't know how. He knew how to find the material. He didn't know how to do a retail part of it. And we got together and we opened this gallery, and I actually lived in this 400-year-old adobe building, this huge building that we
Wow.
turned into a gallery. And Pia sauntered up one night after closing. I looked out the window and there was a person looking in the windows, and I thought, it's too late. I'm not going to open the front door again. And my friend said, look, she's there. Open the door. So I opened the door and she said, oh no, I'm just looking. I know you're closed. And I said, no, no, come in. She came in. I followed her around for an hour. It was one of those instant recognition situations.
And then when I
Oh my
left,
God.
I invited him to go for a walk with me, and he walked me back to where I was staying at my friend's house. And we sat outside under a new moon and we talked almost all night. We just
Oh
talked.
my gosh. How amazing. I love that. And I love that you had the nudge to go in. Like it is such a true thing that angels and our guides will work through others. That it is sometimes that the push that you get or the message that you get that they don't even realize that they are being the channel in that moment for the message that you need to hear, which is just that is what a cool story for all of you singles out there. You are now inspired. Go to the art gallery.
So,
That is super
so
cool.
we then got together as a couple, and this was a long time ago. And within weeks, we started getting really unusual occurrences in our house.
Like water being turned on or shoes being moved in a different direction.
Furniture being moved.
All kinds of things. And so fast forward, sometime after that, they came to us and we started getting the messages telepathically, but we were getting them at exactly the same time. I would say, I just got this, and Cullen would say, that's the exact words I just got. Fast forward from there, we started recording what we were receiving because we were getting advanced medical binary systems,
physics,
physics,
time travel.
all kinds of stuff. So we started recording it. And
Yeah.
then after that, it proceeded, and this is over time, of course, but it proceeded to, will you take our information to other groups, to other places, and will you write books for us? So that's the real short version of how we got where we are.
That is so cool. And everybody, all the whole group, everybody's like totally into your story, by the way. We've got like, woohoo, love this story. Great story for like perfect to be talking about that right before Valentine's Day, right? Everybody's excited. And one person in the group wants to know where their wallet is. And then Bear says, where's my corn broom? Brandon says, where's my dang wallet?
Well, since it is a Valentine's story, I'll add one more thing to it. It was
Yeah.
Kyle's birthday when Laarkmaa actually started trying to communicate with us. It was exactly his birthday when they made the first communication, exactly at the hour and minute of his birth. So we know that it was a synchronistic. They nudged us to meet each other. They made sure that we were living in the same vicinity, that we were living together in the same place, and then they began to actually work with us. So it's been a great journey and continues to be a great journey.
How amazing. I love that. And so how old were you guys when you met each other? Just if you don't mind asking, you don't have to betray your current ages if you don't want to, but just out of curiosity, what stage of life were you in when this all began for you?
We were in our mid 50s.
Yes. Don't you guys love that? Look, like it's like it happens, like so much of this happens later in life. Like you're like, moving along and you're out there digging in the sand looking for King Tut and you're over there doing what, I mean, like, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're channeling the Pleiadians. How cool is that? Like life is meant to be this, it's never linear, right? It's just that this like follow where it leads you. That is so cool. I love it. And love that you guys found love at that stage of life. So cool. So, so cool. So, yeah. Ooh, there's still hope for me, says Leslie.
Well, and
That's so great. Yep. Very,
if
very
anybody,
cool. So,
anybody,
okay.
if
Oh, I didn't
anybody,
hear you. Could you repeat that?
anybody out there can do the math, we've been doing this for over 20 years. So that puts you in the current time frame of where we are now.
Yeah, yeah. We won't do that just out of politeness. You look very young, very, very young.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm super curious to ask about like one of the things, and I would love to see what you would say is the where if you were to direct the conversation where you would take it. But the thing that jumped out at me when I was looking at the materials you sent over was this idea that of a different perspective of time. And I understand that you have this spiral notion, which really fits with how I think about healing. I consider healing to be a spiral that like people talk about the layers of the onion as we heal, but I think of it as a spiral that we deal with an issue. And as we move up in consciousness, we deal with, we'll deal with it in the root chakra. And then we move up until finally we're dealing with it in our belief systems. And then finally we're, in our conditioning. And it's not going backwards it's a spiral that you're going. So anyways, when I saw you talking about a spiral it was like about time. Anyways, it really piqued my interest. So assuming that I'm reading what you're saying correctly, can you tell us what you have learned about this concept of time from the Pleiadian perspective?
Do you want to start or you want me to start?
You start.
Well, first of all, time, as you are well aware, is not linear.
Yeah.
There is no past, there is no future, there is only the now moment. There are no past lives or future lives. They are all parallel. They happen at one time. And in the third dimension, we seem to be focused on the structure and construct of time, which puts us focusing on something behind us and something in front of us that are non-existent. The only thing that exists is the now. So
Yeah.
we have to work with energy rather than the concept of time, because the Gregorian calendar and the 12-hour clock are completely blocking us from our expansion possibilities. When we look at
Interesting.
everything through the view of energy and see how energy moves and shifts and how energy arrives in waves, we have a completely different perception of who we are.
Interesting. So, okay, so can you elaborate on that, on the idea that we need to get that the whole concept that time is, and I absolutely agree with you. Like the angels say to me all the time that it's like living in the now, and this whole new experience that we're heading into in the higher state of consciousness is about our absolute presence in the now moment is a big piece of it. So can you expand on that idea? So time is a limitation. It is, and absolutely agree, it doesn't really exist. What does life look like outside of that? Like, are you currently freed from time, or what is your experience of time today? Given that you're still living, like the earth hasn't shifted yet.
Well, it's like a parallel existence.
Mhm.
What the Pleiadians brought to us was information about understanding, looking at life through energy, not through time. So what we did with them, or what they did with us, is we developed a new astrological system designed on energy, not on time. And what we did was we wrote a book explaining this system, and it's based on what the Pleiadians gave the Maya 5,000 years ago.
But updated to modern terminology that people can relate to.
And understand in this timeline.
Mhm.
So what they gave us was a way of seeing each day being of a specific energy, not a 12-hour day daylight and a 12-hour nighttime, but an energy that brings us the ability to access things, to be connected with things in a positive way. And by explaining that, they told us that the idea of ending the day at 12 midnight is crazy, because the energies change at sunset, not at midnight.
So the whole idea of the Gregorian clock and calendar is really skewed from what is actually connected to nature. Two really important things about this system of Pleiadian Earth energy astrology. One of them is what Cullen just said. It's based on rhythms of nature, not based on an artificial clock time of 12 midnight. And the other
Yeah.
one, it incorporates the energy of 13. We live in a society that bases everything on 12. Western astrology, Vedic astrology, they all have 12 houses, 12 signs. If you go to the store, you buy a dozen eggs or a dozen of whatever. You have 12 months in a year. The idea of the energy of 13 has been cursed as an unlucky number, primarily because this is the energy of the divine feminine. 13 is the energy of the divine feminine, and it
Oh my
brings
God.
in the possibility of integrating everything. So 13 holds the basin of being able, just like the female womb holds the basin for new life, 13 holds the basin for integrating all of who you are and your experiences so that you can go through the next experience. So this calendar and the book that we have written about it takes you through 13-day periods where you start with initiating energy and then you spiral through duality, creativity, change, flow. You spiral through all of these things until you get to understanding, which is 12. And then you reach 13, which is integration. And you integrate what all those previous 12 days are. And then you start a new spiral. So it's all about raising consciousness.
But if we stop at 12, we don't take the time, we don't take the breath to integrate, to integrate, to integrate. And we just jump back into the cycle, but we haven't really learned anything because we're just repeating the same thing over and over and over again.
Yes.
So this system, I mean, we really, really researched this and we really played with it for years before we brought it to the public. And what we did was we retroactively looked back at certain dates.
Well, let me insert here, it'll make more
Sure.
sense. Part of this system indicates when your personal shadow cycles are, times of opportunity for you to move beyond patterns where you're stuck, and where the collective for all of humanity is having a shadow cycle. So you can be more compassionate and understanding when everybody's having a bad hair day. So we can collectively move forward. So what Cullen's talking about going retroactively, we looked at and charted what our personal shadow cycles were individually and together as a couple, and we could find out when we were in disagreement over something, when the car broke down, when all kinds of challenges.
Or truly just a bad hair day.
Yeah. Wow, this is really predictive. And if we know when there's this particular time of challenge, what opportunities we can make out of that. So we've
Wow.
done a tremendous amount of work during our shadow cycles, partially bringing us to a complete recognition and understanding of our other dimensional lives. So we know who we are in other places, what we've shared together or are sharing together in other lifetimes. It's a pretty amazing system.
It's incredible. We come here, each of us, when we incarnate, we come with a specific energy.
That's the universal energy.
And that energy carries with us information, signatures, gifts, vibrations from other parallel lives that we bring here to work with so that we can not only grow and develop and evolve here, but we're also growing and evolving in those other parallel lifetimes.
There are 20 earth energies as well, and the earth energies are the things that we come here to explore using our universal energy. And there's a low road and a high road to each one of them that everybody has a choice to explore and figure out. So it's a pretty fascinating system.
So I got to tell you, so a couple things that really strike me as you talk about the number 13 is that even in elevators on floors, they will skip the number 13. This is such a part of globally of our, it's great. And you're right. So, and our fear, and when you were talking about it, the thing that really struck me is that resistance to the moment of integration and what we would call the divine feminine is the fear of facing ourselves. You know, it's that fear of taking a moment and reflecting. And it's like that go, go, go. in the absence of taking, and the angels have been really big on this recently, talking about that there is no such, it's not a shadow. It's that moment of taking, it's going, returning to the soil, which is infinite possibility and regenerating into something new. So that's what your number 13. The other thing I have to say is that if you have not seen the Saturday Night Live episode, which I can't remember which actor was on it, but they're making jokes about the United States and our ridiculous ways of measuring everything. And they're like, we're going to be different from England, instead of measuring things this way, and all of our ridiculous ways of measuring. So you have to watch it. You will be like laughing flat out. And it's all about like, why do we have 12? Like, why, 12, we're going to, rather than making it 10, let's make it 12. Anyway, it's very funny. So
That's
put that
great.
on your watch list. It's very, so SNL, and you do like measurements or whatever. It's very funny for Saturday Night Live. But yeah, so okay, so I'm super excited about this. So just to make sure and I have the advantage of having read a little bit of your book, that I saw that there's these different energies that we're born with and we kind of spiral through. So each day is a different, and so it's broken down in each be 13-day cycles. Is this right? And then each day is a slightly different energy, and you're kind of working with that. So for example, what is the energy of today
I'd have to look because
on the calendar? Okay.
we've crossed into sunset, so it's already changed, so it won't be the same for both of us. For you, it's 8, which is the universal energy, and evolving. And the next day's energy, which we have already crossed into because we are past sunset where we are, is 9, self-regulating.
Self-regulating. Interesting. So what is the opportunity for us in the 8-day? So for all of us that are here and we've got people joining us from all over the world. And I know where did you guys say you're coming? You're from Greece. You're coming from Greece, right?
Cyprus.
Cyprus. Okay. Okay. So what is the opportunity in the 8 today for those of us who are in 8? So how would we apply this?
8 is the energy of abundance and connection. So it's a great day to connect with people. It's a great day to focus on being grateful for everything that you have, which actually increases your abundance. It's a great day for that kind of thing, expressing gratitude and connecting with others. 9, tomorrow, is the day of harmony. It's a day of looking how to harmonize opposites to bring more harmony into wherever you go. So these are 2 examples of how things spiral up, because when you connect and you're grateful and you focus on abundance on the 8th day, by the 9th day, there's automatically more harmony present. So you can bring more harmony into the world. Go ahead.
Well, each one of the days, the energy, as they move forward, they give us more wisdom. They give us more ability to move forward, to evolve. So they're connected. You want to talk about that aspect?
Sure, they're connected. So you go from 8 to abundance and connection, to 9 to harmony. 10 is a kind of a flip energy, because if you've been paying attention at 10, you're able to manifest more easily. If you've not been paying attention the previous days, you have challenges to come up to show you where your blocks are. 11 is the energy of bringing in more light, being able to see more clearly. And then 12, you reach understanding. And then 13, you integrate. There's one more thing that I haven't said, and Cullen hasn't said yet, but not only do we do the book and the calendar for people to have access to this information, but I also do personal astrology charts to show people what are your karmic patterns, what are your gifts, what are the energies you're working with, how can you work with them. And if you would like, I will tell you on air for your followers, I would be delighted to do a chart for you as a gift.
Awesome. Yeah, I would love that.
We'll just have to connect after the show to get specifics, but I'd love to do a chart.
That sounds great. Well, I will volunteer. If you guys do a chart for me, if everybody else is curious, I will be an open book and share what it looks like, so people have an understanding of how it works. So we could use me as a guinea pig.
Sure.
And I'll share it with the group. So yeah, that'd be really, really cool.
Thank you.
But
we've looked and used astrology all of our lives. We've used Western, Vedic, Chinese, Draconic. We've really immersed ourselves in astrology. And this system, and I have to do a disclaimer here, everybody who invents something thinks their baby is the cutest baby. I mean, we all know that. But at the same time, when we use this system for ourselves or clients, people are amazed. They'll say, well, I've used astrology forever and I never got this kind of information. It was never accurate. I always thought they were talking to someone else, but this is speaking directly to me. And that's why
Yeah.
we like the system so much.
I love it. I love it. And there's everybody's super excited about what you're doing. We even have a person here that says that they've been super focused on the number 13. So Bursum says, I was born on the 13 and my strategy, transformation, and integration business is called the 13th floor. Isn't that cool? This, yeah, very awesome. So there's several people who've mentioned that they have a special connection. One person said that it was her lucky number from birth. Yeah, it's very, very cool. So, so people just like intuitively, there's knowings that happen that we sometimes are drawn into things. But yeah, very, very cool. So I understand you guys are willing to bring in your amazing channeling and share some wisdom with us. Is this a good time to do that?
Sure,
Sure.
sure.
All right. So now tell me, so who do you channel? Are both of you channeling when you channel, or how does it work? Because you're both connected.
We do. We have to be
Have to
touching.
be touching physically for them to come.
Ah, wow.
When they introduced themselves to us, they said, we want you to be a little unusual. We are going to use both of your minds, the libraries of your minds, to be able to communicate in the English language. And they said, we don't have a language like you do. We speak directly heart to heart with musical tones and mathematical tones. So in order to have humanity understand, we have to use both of you to do this. And so we have to be touching. And in the very, very beginning, we both spoke.
Simultaneously.
Sometimes I spoke, sometimes Pia spoke, and sometimes simultaneously. And it confused the heck out of the public because they didn't, it was like a tennis match. It was like, who do we listen to? So I think Laarkmaa, which is the name of this group, I think they resonate with Pia's voice more than mine. I don't have a booming, terribly aggressive male voice, but I think they like the musical quality of Pia's voice better. So for the time being, Pia is the speaker.
So,
Yeah.
and when they come through, when they're talking with a particular person, they will ask, what is your heart song? And what they mean is to give them your name, can be just your first name, doesn't have to be both, whatever you choose, in your own voice so they get your energetic signature. And then you can ask them whatever questions that you want to share with your audience. So they will ask you for your heart song.
Great. And it's first name only?
You can
Whatever,
use
or even if
whatever.
you have a special, a spiritual name that you've adopted, any name that you feel comfortable with.
Whatever you feel defines who you are. First and
Got it.
last, spiritual, whatever.
Okay, sounds great. Yeah, no, I definitely relate to what you say about the library of the mind, because that's how it is with when I channel the angels, is if I've ever heard a word ever in my life, even if I've forgotten it from years ago, they will pull it out of and so it's like when I change words all over the place now, and I usually read their messages with the dictionary because it'll be like, yeah, someone said that to me once, and I had a mom who was like, an English teacher. So I got a lot of words floating around in my brain. I don't remember, but it is the library that they speak from. Yeah, it's super, super interesting. They will even, because I learned French when I was in college and I lived in France for a year, and I have since forgotten most of my French, but they haven't. And they will throw French words in sometimes, which is hilarious. So yeah, anyways, I relate to that very much, very much. So yeah, I'm super excited to meet with them. Can you repeat the name of the collective again? Because it's an unusual word. I want to write it down and make sure I say it correctly if I need to.
Laarkmaa is how they say it. In English, it's Laarkmaa.
Laarkmaa.
Laarkmaa. But
That's
they do.
awesome, fantastic. And for everybody who's noticing, there is information in the chat of how to find their work. So if you're looking for their website, Kira has shared it into the chat for everyone. All right, so I'd love to meet them. So thank you so much.
Hello, dear one. We are Laarkmaa. Please give us your heart song.
Ann Tucker.
Ann Tucker, we are delighted to meet you and we bask in the wonderfulness of your energy. You have very great, wonderful light energy. We're pleased to have a conversation with you today. What would you like to discuss?
I would love to know about how we grow as souls. How would you, knowing what you know about us, about the human condition, how would you suggest that we grow as souls?
Wonderful question. We like that very much. The first thing that we would say that is instrumental in growing as a soul is to step outside of your personality's belief that everything is separate and that you are different. You are one, you are connected, but in your third dimensional environment, most of you choose to focus upon how you are different or special rather than focusing upon how you are the same and special through that sameness. So we would say a very good focus for the soul growth is learning to move away from separation, which includes judgment, blame, all kinds of things that are involved with competition. Anything that separates you is a thing to step away from, moving instead into cooperation, acceptance, kindness, patience, gratitude, these higher level aspects. There is another level that we would include also for soul growth, and that is utilizing the tools that you have been given. This is a planet of choice. And on a planet of choice, that is something that you must learn to exercise more fully with consciousness every single moment. Know that everything you choose is either unconscious as a habit, which is still a choice, or a conscious choice to make change, because you are beings of change. Life is about change, and you must recognize and accept that in order to grow, everything changes. It is fact, it is in a continual spiral of change. You have been given the tools on this planet of what we call signposts or signals. You call them emotions. We distinguish between emotions and your natural feeling state by saying your feeling state that you are born with is love, joy, trust, compassion, kindness, patience, gratitude. These are your natural feeling states, and they make you feel joyful when you are experiencing them. Emotions, on the other hand, are the signposts that say, hey, you're out of balance. You need to re-examine and find a different perspective, or you need to re-examine how you're acting. If you're feeling angry, sad, jealous, frustrated, any of these emotions that make you uncomfortable, it is the discomfort that is your gift. For in the gift, you find how your soul wants you to improve, what your soul is guiding you to do differently, how to change, how to move forward, how to evolve. Does this make sense to you?
Absolutely, yes. And the angels tell me all the time that we are the frequency of change. So it's a great confirmation. Thank you so much for that. I also would love to ask you, what is the from the your understanding of the Great Split? Would love for you to share your perspective on the Great Split.
We would love to do that. We see that on a planet of choice, even though magnificent opportunities arise for you to evolve, you have the choice to evolve at your own pace. And as the energies are coming in increasingly frequency waves of higher and higher dimension, that becomes very frightening or unsettling for some. And for others, it becomes exciting and something to look forward to. We see the Great Split as the moment when people turn their back upon the opportunity, clinging to what was, rather than being willing to move forward into what is and accepting it as it arrives, while being open and courageous as you step forward into the next moment and the next moment and the next, which are unknown. So the Great Split is a temporary, and we mean to emphasize temporary division, because some of you are choosing to evolve at a very quick rate by being open with your hearts open and aligning with the frequencies that arise. And others are choosing to back away in fear or clinging to what was in the lower frequency. So you might say there's a very fast train and there's a very slow boat, and you can take either, and they will get to the same destination, and you will be unified because you are a soul group. Humanity is a collective of one, but on a planet of choice, you have a choice of how quickly you wish to learn your lessons. We see that those who choose not to evolve quickly, who choose to take the slower path, will be held in a safe space. We call it the golden trough of light, until they are ready to continue their journey when the great energies arrive in waves that they cannot handle. They will be held, their souls will be safe in the golden trough of light until they were ready to move forward. And then at that time, they will continue their karmic lessons and whatever they need to do, perhaps at a more accelerated rate by then. And eventually, you will all be together once again. No soul is turned away. You just have a choice of how quickly you wish to evolve. In our view, there's only one choice that makes sense, the one that steps away from pain and suffering and separation and hunger and war. But many do not see this, for they are too frightened to be able to see the truth. And as you are well aware, fear and trust, or fear and love, are at opposite ends of the spectrum. So if you can choose to trust the process, accept what comes, even if it is uncomfortable, knowing that it is a birth process and you are moving into a higher frequency, then you are on the fast train to evolve. And if you are frightened and you stay with clinging what is now, then you are choosing to take the slow route to get there. Is that
Beautiful.
clear?
Yes, thank you so much. And the experience of this split, is it an individual split or does it happen at one moment for the collective?
That is a matter of perspective. For each of you will perceive it as an individual opportunity or an individual challenge. But from our perspective, it's happening at once. The waves of energy arrive, you make the choice. But from your perspective, you may perceive it as, oh, this person's making a choice, now that person's making a choice. You may see souls who are choosing to depart this plane of existence. And you may know intuitively they have chosen to leave at a particular moment because their doorway has suddenly been opened. Each of you have the opportunity to have instant awareness of the doorway that is open to you and to choose to walk through it. Some choose to dawdle, drag their feet, take a moment, and it seems a little longer for them. But the waves of energy will arrive for everyone simultaneously. But how you draw that out through your own perception may be perceived as a separate, you would call it a timeline, we would call it an energetic choice point.
Excellent. So
Clear?
it very much matches what the angels have told us as well, which is that there will be a flash of light, but that is not the only opportunity, that everyone will have a continuing and ongoing opportunity to make a shift on their own timeline. Is that correct from your perspective as well?
Absolutely. And we would like to just insert here that we do not hold the only truth. We never claim to hold the only truth. In fact, we tell people all the time, don't believe us, trust your own heart, because each heart holds wisdom of the universe. And we want to make recognition and note that what you bring through is very clear and very pure and very aligned with what we bring. In other words, truth comes from many sources, and the recognition of what is true or what is not true is held within your own heart's knowing.
Yes, I love that. And thank you for that. I think that's very empowering for everyone to realize our own connections is where we should turn first. I would love to ask about the concept of enlightenment, given this time that we are in, where the earth is shifting and we are moving to this altered state, this higher state of awareness, and all of the traditions we've held around the concept of enlightenment and I understand there's enlightenment moving into the state of oneness with all things, but as a destination, as something to try to work towards. If you have any thoughts about that or insights about the journey to enlightenment, that would be really interesting.
We would say that you must remember that you are a being of light. You are covered in a shell of density here in your third dimensional body. And as you move through layer after layer of density falling away, there is room made for more and more light to awaken within you. You have 12 strands of DNA, and as you invite more light in while ridding more shadow, more of the 12 strands of DNA open, allowing you to operate more fully. When all 12 strands are awakened, you reach the point of integration. And at the point of integration or full enlightenment, you recognize at that moment that there is no separation. You absolutely have your own I-ness of who you are and how you choose to be in the universe, but you simultaneously recognize that you are the same as everyone else. There is no judgment of better than, worse than, different than. You recognize without distinction. We are the same. I prefer this, you prefer that, but we are the same. We like to use a word that is a Mayan word to define this as saying, I am another yourself. The Mayan word is in Lakesh. And we like to tell people in Lakesh is your hello and goodbye. I am another yourself. It is said with love from your heart, from one being to another. Recognize the divinity and the lightness of each person you meet, as well as claiming the lightness and the divinity of who you are yourself. It is a joining and a moving towards unity. That is enlightenment.
I absolutely love something you said earlier about the idea that when we meet one another, we should focus on where we are the same, to find the unity between us, as opposed to trying to focus on what makes us different, try to focus on, and while maintaining our sense of identity, finding that harmony and the joy in where we overlap and what we share. I think that is a beautiful perspective shift as we move out into the world, of rather than saying, how do I shine? It is, how do we shine together? I think that is a beautiful way to move more into that enlightened state, just through our choice of thoughts. I think that's very, very practical and helpful. I'm wondering
Well
about, as
said.
you talk about that moving into that higher state, or moving into that more and more into that state of oneness. What can you suggest that we do on a daily basis to help us in our daily lives to be more in alignment with those with that 13th, with awakening all those different 12 strands? And is awakening the 12 strands, is that the same as opening up the higher and lower chakras? Is it where you're trying to bring the energy all the way up to the upper chakras? Are those two things the same, or are they different?
They are related. They are related. One is a linear progression, which is hierarchical, from lower to upper. But that is a pathway that most of humanity likes to think in learning, is to move from the lower to the upper. So that is one way to see it. We see the 12 strands of DNA as a soup, much like your wisdom soup, where you collect all of the gifts and the wisdom that are held for you in multiple dimensions, and then you integrate them to know who you are. It is not a hierarchical or a linear perception, but it is a spiral perception of opening and opening and opening. We also say that the answer to your question about how to get there or what to do, the first thing to do is not think of it as a goal to reach, for that is a future thought. Instead, think of it as, how am I in this day? And in everything you do, make a conscious choice. You go to the grocery store, smile at the people around you. You have a driver who's enraged when you're trying to cut you off in traffic, send them love. When you see someone that you think's having a hard time, tell them how beautiful their smile is and make them smile. These are little choices that are enlightening in their action. And every time you do one, you peel off more of the darkness of your own shadow. You help them recognize their shadows, and you share light between you.
Beautiful, beautiful. And so, in the process of trying to awaken the 12 strands of DNA, it's because I asked the angels just the other day, what would I need to do to reach that higher state of consciousness? I had a dream about enlightenment. And so when I was awake, I asked about, how do you reach enlightenment, and how would they define enlightenment? And they said to be more conscious of, they said, when you become fully conscious of your thoughts. And I think that matches what you're saying. It is in and day out of always finding that the beautiful perspective, in all things. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. More light into the now moment and making choices from that higher vibrational point. That is how it is achieved. It is not a goal to be set. It is a living in the moment and the next moment and the next moment as they arise, always being conscious of how you can be the highest version of yourself and be kind to everyone else.
I love that. Absolutely. And that's so actionable, right? That is such a beautiful thing we can take and each of us can apply in our daily lives. And that's just beautiful. I love it. Is there anything that you wish I had asked you that you would like to share with this group specifically, with the people who are here and the people who are listening to this later? Is there anything you wish I had asked?
Well, there's a perspective that we would like to share with you if you are willing to hear a perspective.
Thank you.
And
Yes.
that is a perspective on unconditional love. Unconditional love, of course, has no judgment and no blame. But there is something that many miss about unconditional love. Unconditional love is full acceptance of yourself, your situation, your circumstances, and each other. You cannot progress in an evolutionary spiral if you are clinging to something that you are hoping for to be different, believing in that will be different, or not simply accepting. Nor can you move in the evolutionary spiral if you're clinging to blame and judgment. So we say that unconditional love must be fully accepting of everything. Our friend and colleague Mary Magdalene says often, she says, accept all experiences. They are all for your benefit. Love them all. Do not have preference that keeps you from loving everything that comes to you, for everything that comes to you is for your benefit. We completely agree with that Pleiadian perspective. And we would say also in this same vein, your religions on this planet have taught you the concept of forgiveness. And while we recognize that forgiveness has a place in helping people to move beyond anger, pain, grief, whatever it is they may be holding as an emotional signpost, when you are completely in unconditional love, there's nothing to forgive. You accept that whatever that person has done or said was done because they needed to learn something or you needed to learn something. So forgiveness drops away and you move through that portal quite quickly, just simply recognizing, oh, there is nothing to forgive because it's all on purpose. We're all here together learning lessons. So we share that as a different view on unconditional love to help you move forward past what you've been taught by your religion.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. We have loved, and our whole group is just so full of love for what you've shared and for your generosity in sharing it. So thank you so much for the conversation. And we'll definitely look forward to speaking with you again in the future. Thank you so much.
We appreciate the opportunity. We love you. Good always.
Welcome back, you guys. So great to have you with us again. Although that was really awesome. Not to say that they've upstaged you, but
We're a team.
Exactly. Phenomenal. And what was thrilling for me was to hear because because I try to stay clear as a channel myself, I don't listen to a lot of other channeled information because I feel like I want to make sure I'm not influenced. And so it was a rare treat for me to hear another beautiful source of wisdom and to see how tightly, I mean, like literally, like coming at it from a different angle and using different words, but how identical the wisdom that, I mean, it's just amazing to me and exciting. It's so exciting to hear that. I loved it.
Well,
Absolutely loved the channeling. Thank you so much. That was gorgeous. And to be in that glow was beautiful.
you're quite welcome. And I would like to say briefly, when we listen to your group of angels, we feel the same way that the information, although it may be in a language slightly different, not much, but slightly different, we see the similarities jumping out.
Yeah.
I would say almost identical.
And
Yeah.
we all like you, do not listen to a lot of channeled information for the same reasons.
Yeah,
So we understand that and appreciate
I
it.
appreciate that you brought that up because we have the same feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. But it was wonderful. And it really felt very, it felt almost collaborative as opposed to, like anyways, it was just so fun. I loved it, loved it, loved it. And I was really encouraged. I thought it was the idea, and it was really helpful for me because that was a very personal question about like this, because I had this dream. In a dream, it's a funny thing, but in dream language, Canada is a symbol for enlightenment. And I think it has to do with the fact that, anyways, there's crazy reasons why dream symbols mean different things. And that's what it means in my dream. I had a dream of being at the border and what I would need to do in order to try to reach that state of consciousness. So it raised this question for me. And I had asked that, and the answer I got was about the thoughts. And so, which was interesting, but it didn't, I felt at the end of it, so what they added to that, seeing how it fit with that, it's very personally helpful for me to understand that it's not it doesn't mean that we have to go lock ourselves in a cave somewhere and meditate for 15 years. If it's the opposite, as a matter of fact, it is be in our daily life and focus on how we are being in our daily life. It is our thoughts about each other, our thoughts about it's that universally accepting all that is, being in love with what is and growing from that space of total acceptance. And and it's something that is, absolutely empowering for every one of us, regardless of what position or what's happening in our life or whatever it is, right? Even from the position of, if you're in the middle of a dark night of the soul, you are still only steps away from the potential of feeling that enlightened state based on our acceptance of what is. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful and empowering.
Thank you.
I have to ask you guys, are you guys experiencing any of the earthquake stuff where you guys are? Do you feel any of that where you guys are?
We do.
We do.
We do.
Are you hopefully in a safe place, I'm sure?
We hope so.
We-
We trust we are.
For the time being,
But-
yes, but
We are moving.
we are actually going to make a international move quite soon.
Yes.
So we'll be,
Oh, how exciting. Can
We'll
we
be-
ask where you're going to be relocating to?
Sure.
We're moving to
to Hawaii.
Oh, beautiful. Well, you guys don't exactly pick bad places, do you?
We go where we're called.
Yeah.
Where the light is, we
Yeah,
go.
wherever service is necessary,
That's where we go.
we endeavor to be where we're of the most service.
Mhm.
That is awesome. 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 Well, I wish you guys the best of luck in your move. Everyone here has just been so supportive and thankful for what you've shared. So thank you so much for being guests with us today. And for those of it, and so could you repeat for everyone who's listening later, how can they both best reach you?
There are two websites. Our website with Laarkmaa work is Laarkmaa, LAARKMAA.com. And my website with a lot of the divine feminine work and the astrology is Pia, Pia Orleane, ORLEANE.com. And I'm hosting a workshop, Cosmic Guidance from Various Voices of the Light, coming up starting next week. And you can find that on my website if you want to look at that. Cullen will be with me part of the time, helping present Laarkmaa, and the rest of the time we'll bringing forth other voices and different perspectives for cosmic guidance.
Both
Fantastic.
of the websites have lots of really fascinating information and lots of archival information, interviews, articles we've written for journals and magazines around the world over the years, lots of really fun stuff to look at.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you so much. Well, this has been so much fun, you guys. I will definitely be connecting with you later about doing that and then sharing the result, if that's appropriate, sharing the results. Would that be okay to do? I think people would benefit from seeing what the results look like, as long as you're not revealing to people my deepest, although I probably would do that anyways, but.
I'll send it to you and then you can decide.
Yeah, you can peruse it and make a first person decision about what you want to share or not.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. I think there's probably, you guys already know it all anyways. So that, but it would be fun, really fun, and I think would create some great learning opportunities for all of us. So thank you guys so much. Sending you tons of blessings, and thank you so much to our beautiful community for how you have supported this beautiful transmission that we received today. Sending you guys all tons of love. We will be back together again for our next Wisdom Soup. We always meet on the second Thursday of the month, and once again bring you incredible people like these two, which we are all sending tons of love to. So thank you
Much
guys
love.
so much. We'll
Thank
see you guys
you.
again soon.
Love
Thank
you, brothers
you.
and sisters.
Bye,
Bye-bye for
everybody.
now.
Thank you
Bye.
very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank
Love
you.
Thank you, Ann Tucker.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Ann.
Thank you, everybody.
And thank you, Colin. Thank you.
Thank
Much
you,
love to all the brothers and sisters.